Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the board meeting. At this moment, could we please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this moment, I'd like to ask for a motion to accept our board agenda.
I'll second.
Christy, a second?
Yep.
Lori? All in favor? Okay, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence for one of our former coaches, Mr. Tom Ostrander. He worked here for 36 years. He was a legendary coach of multiple sports on every level, including the soccer program that he founded. Later, he became the AD, and he started our first adaptive PE classes. So if I could just have a moment of silence for him. Thank you. At this time, we'll go to item C, Community Open Forum. Do we have anything, Pearl? Nothing? Okay. Thank you. Item D, board recognition. One of my favorite art teachers here, Mrs. Stats. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. I'm always, this is Pearl in my favorite board meeting because we get to see some kids and some amazing artwork. I just wanted to say the definition of appreciation is the recognition of the good qualities of someone. And the art department wanted to acknowledge all of the support that you give the entire district, and specifically us in particular. We are very grateful for your hard work and your dedication. And every year, I was going to email Marie Fram for sure, but I think this is my 20th year doing this. So I was like, I talked to my son on the way here, I'm like, I only have 3 more. Not that I don't love it, because I really do. But I want to present to you some beautiful work that the kids have done and let you know how hard their teachers work to make this happen. So for Mrs. Nickerson, who is the AA Cole Adopt a Board member, if you could come up. Evelyn Wood has some beautiful note cards that she made, and her art teacher is Katie Wood. Right up there. And Mr. Patch is the Adopt a Board member for Brewerton. And our friend Aniston Roberts, who's a 3rd grader. Her art teacher is Mrs. Staley, has some great note cards to share with you.
Thank you so much.
Mrs. Wood, you get to double dip this year.
I know.
Oh, it's so nice. You deserve it. So from Hastings Mallory, for Mrs. Wood, we have Emmett Sewell, who's a kindergartner. Mrs. Staley is his art teacher. Come on up here, Emmett, so they can take your picture. Give her note cards.
I will see you in a couple of weeks. I come into her class and I have them here. So I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much.
And turn it and get your picture taken, babe. And then also, yes, Mrs. Wood is lucky to be involved with the transportation center. So Braden House has some fancy note cards too.
I know, Bree.
You do?
Yes.
Perfect.
And that's her favorite baseball team. So that's good.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yes, that's right.
Is Mr. Murphy Murphy not here.
So Mrs.
Who want, yeah, you, not me, you. So Mr. Murphy isn't here, but Mrs. Greer, who is our new art teacher at Millard Hawk, she did a cool thing where she had 4 kids contribute. So Amelia Riker, Daxton Smolnick, Ava Tyrell, and Jacob Hemingway created this piece of art for Mr. Murphy. And Daxton and Amelia are here to present. Go ahead, pretend it's Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
See how it's fuller?
That's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
Tom, please stand up.
Stay there, Tom, 1 second. Mr. Sherman's not here either? No. All right. So Kylie Pamelo is here. She's a 4th grader, also at Millard Hawk. She is presenting to Mr. Sherman. Awesome, thank you. And then Mrs. Fishman is the adoptive board member for the middle school. And she gets to shake hands with Mr. Shahadi, who is new at the middle school this year and has a beautiful print of a painting, let's call it mixed media, by a 7th grader, Madeline Wakeman. It's lovely. 7th grade. I'll get her.
Very nice.
Okay. Mrs. Douglas, who is the Paul B. Moore adoptive board member. Brandon Slingo, who's one of Mrs. Bergman's 12th grade photo students, has a beautiful photograph. Perfect. And then lastly, Mr. Hoyt gets a beautiful photograph from one of my good girls, Veronica Guzman, who also has Tiffany Bergman for a photo. She looks nice.
I know. Thank you very much.
Thank you to all of you, and thank you to all the families and teachers for coming. You make us look good.
Hold on, is there treats?
There's treats.
Yeah, there's
Hold on, wait.
Hold on, real quick, there's something real quick we're gonna do, and then you can get your treats.
Oh, Tom.
So we also want to recognize our board members. We recognize staff members. Board members also put in countless hours, and they don't get paid for that. So anyone that's been here at least 5 years, so we're going to start off with our 20-year pin, Lori Wood, 22 years. Come on up. Appreciate it. Next we have Board President Randy Hoyt, 21 years.
I started at 5, just so you know. So. Sorry.
Next, Chance Nickerson, 7 years. Next, we have Christy Fishman, 5 years. And finally, we have Stephen Patch, 5 years.
Thank you.
Now we can have snacks and desserts. There you go.
Yes, we're gonna take a short intermission for Halloween, so take all those cupcakes as much as you want and everything. They're all your guys'. Thank you for everything.
As much as you want, kids.
Sugar right up.
Right.
Notice we have a lot of spectators, so let's.
When I walked in, I was
You just gotta look at how tall they are.
when I saw them, I might myself.
Okay, at this time, we'll go on to item 2, which is the NISBA voting topics. Does anybody have any concerns or questions, comments, anything for Mrs. Fishman? Yes.
Yeah, Chance, thanks, I appreciate it.
I will say thank you for doing this.
Oh, it's no problem. And when I looked through them, there was only one that I wasn't sure if anyone would have strong feelings about, and it was number... I had a feeling we would consider opposing it. It was the one about the encouraging legislation to further restrict gun purchase, red flag law, and for anyone under 21, and just considering, our constituents, and my gut
It
was to.
depends on how it goes there too.
Right,
So,
right, and what they're actually saying, but what I read, it seems like that's all being done, and we don't need to be having NISBA advocate for that. It doesn't really, it impacts schools, but I think there's bigger battles for them to be fighting, than what's already being done for that in New York State anyway. But if anyone has any other, so I would probably, unless they can convince me there, I would probably oppose that one, unless you guys,
I'm good with the way that you feel when you're there,
okay.
because I think you'll be for the whole area. And, and it depends on what debate they get into.
Right.
Sometimes it turns around a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, no questions for Christy. We'll move on to item E, personnel. Can I have a motion to accept personnel?
I'll make that.
Who was Chance and Lauren? And any comments or concerns, anybody? All in favor? Okay, item F, the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I'll make that.
Chance? And second?
Second.
Who was second? Christie. All in favor? And item G, student rep board reports. We'll start off with Mr. Stevens. How are you today?
I'm well. This Friday, I was sent to receive word of the passing of Central Square alumni, class of 1988, Molly Buchanan. Mrs. Buchanan truly represented what it means to be a Red Hawk, and she never forgot her roots here. She was very supportive of groups impacting our youth, such as the Girl Scouts, the Fire Department, the North Country Hub, and our entire school community. As a local business owner, she joined us at the Red Hawk Rally last year with Buttercup Cheese. Her devotion to creating a better community, helping those of all ages, is truly inspiring. And as we reflect on these dark times, may we remember the light she gave to so many in our community.
That's nice, too.
Any board members with anything to report? I will say, October 22nd, you guys, there is the Central Square Field Dance Show. You guys are all welcome. You're on the list, so you can come. There's 19 bands from throughout the counties coming and praying. We're praying for good weather. So that'll be on Saturday the 22nd.
Tom, isn't homecoming this weekend?
Yes.
Yeah, so we should probably mention that.
Yep, homecoming is.
Oh, okay.
That's why I didn't say anything, but
Okay.
but the 22nd is going to be an all-day event, and it's probably on from like 8 o'clock in the morning until 10 at night. So the bands I think start at like 2-ish. Just ours is the best, so it doesn't matter. Next, I will turn it over to Mr. Calabuffa.
So let's stay right where Christy had mentioned. Homecoming is this Friday, and we're really excited. Matt Stevens played a key role in that. Again, not only is he the board rep, but he also is student government president and puts a lot of time into planning. So does Rachel Rock, and we're very happy about that. So does actually his mother, as she is the superintendent parent council facilitator. So we are excited about it. It's going to be very similar to last year where we had the kind of trunk or treat. The question about the parades have come up, and for the past handful of years, the participation at our parades has been dwindling, and student interest in having the traditional parades have also kind of, dwindled. And so with that, we weren't going to get the permit to close off the streets and whatnot. So we were going to do a modified parade, and then unfortunately, looking at that, we were looking at when the officials get there, when the opposing team Fowler gets there with their team, and when all of their family members get there and our family members get there, closing off the road just as you come up Hillcrest and then heading down to CSI would substantially make it difficult at the beginning of the game. So we decided that we were going to be having kind of a performance by our fine arts program and field band right there on the field just below the parking lot, the staff parking lot where we're going to be having trunk or treat. So we're very excited about that. But again, a lot of talk went into that, and maybe there was a different route, but then the kids would have to go upstairs, up different stairs with their instruments, and for safety reasons that wouldn't be good. But we're very confident as long as the weather holds out, and it's going to be a very fun event. So that is this Friday, homecoming against Fowler High School. We're very excited about that. We've got some pretty good community feedback on who's going to be there and whatnot. So if you were there last year, you would see it was an excellent opportunity for people to come back together. And Matt, why don't you tell us all what the theme is?
This year is the Coming Home Homecoming.
And he played a key role in that. So again, thanks for all of your work with that, Matt. Next, I just want to touch upon a couple other things. I wanted to just simply say how happy we are with the start of the school year. It's great to be able to go out and see sports and band, and you could just hear them outside here practicing. So we are back to normal. Somebody had asked me, COVID, and are we still testing students and whatnot? And it's just like it was at the beginning of the year and in the spring. If the students aren't feeling well and they go to the nurse gives the opportunity for the parent to say, would you like me to test your kid because it is a COVID symptom? Yes or no. If it's no, because there's no fever, they can go back to class. Some parents are like, yep, you know what, we have an elderly person that lives at home, go ahead and test them. More students than none are coming back negative, which is a really good thing. So we have roughly about 14,000 tests. BOCES is still getting tests, giving them to us. So we're in no short supply. If any staff members want to take them home, if parents want to take them home, we just had a high school open house, and we gave away hundreds of test kits. So we keep getting more from BOCES, and we take them, and it doesn't cost us anything. So I'm very happy about that. I'm happy with just the excitement. I've been in all the schools multiple times, and I'm just very happy to see how happy the kids are and the staff as we truly return to normal. One of the things that in my superintendent report I just want to be able to share, I want to touch on something that some people are hearing about right now, and I want to be able to publicly say right now that one of the issues that we're dealing with is something called the worker health. It's the healthcare and mental hygiene worker bonus. So the New York State Health Department came out with something roughly about a month ago, and they basically said that we want to provide an opportunity for health-related field workers in across the board, not just school districts, to be able to get up to $3,000. And that wouldn't have to come from school districts, that's coming from the state. But the difficult part is that the Health Department of New York State came up with this, but then what they did was they tasked the New York State Education Department to come up with the titles. And so the New York State Education Department came up with their titles, and it's posted. We shared a letter with all 700 plus staff members, so everybody sees. And in the letter, which looked like this, there were links, and basically it said that if you are somebody whose board approved title that you have, job title, aligns with the eligible titles that the New York State Education Department came up with, then you would be receiving a letter from our personnel office that basically has an employee attestation form, and you would fill that form out, and we would submit that form. And there's deadlines and whatnot, because there's deadlines for us to submit it. So we knew that this would happen, but there are positions within our district that they don't match the title exactly, and we're being told, well, you have to match the title exactly. People are calling the health department. Health department is saying, well, it's not that big of a deal. Call the education department, because the education department was the ones that came out with the titles. So I just want to be public with this, because I don't want anybody in our district to think that if we have an opportunity to provide a bonus, that the money is coming from the state, that the money is budgeted for by the state, that we wouldn't be withholding that. So there are fines that we were told, that was told by our DS, and it was told by the DS in Onondaga County to his component districts, that if you don't do it correctly, if you give it to somebody that doesn't have that title, or you don't give it to somebody that has that title, there are fines that would be on the district. So we are in the process right now where today, we just got an email from the New York State Education Department that the portal was open for submissions, and we didn't get any more information than what we already had a month ago. So we're talking with legal, we're talking with the DSs, because if there is gray area, that we would like our people to be able to get that. But that's what we're dealing with right now, and I just wanted to mention it because I have received some emails and some phone calls from staff members that were wondering about it, and I wanted to say to the board meeting, just in case any of the board members get calls, you can just let them know that the letter that I sent out is exactly what we received from the New York State Education Department and the Health Department, and that's what we're going by. But if more information comes out, we will share that with everybody. So that's that. The next thing that I want to say is I had submitted my goals, but really they're the district goals. And for any new board members, I just wanted you to know the process is that I, Aaron Phillips, and Kristen Enright have already met with all of the building principals and the building level administrators, and we look at their goals on how their goals align to supporting the district's goals. And so, if you're new, we've always had 4 categories: increase instructional engagement, and you're going to be given more data this year than you've ever given before, because we have checkpoints throughout the year where we're able to go in and actually look at where we are with those instructional goals that I have provided you. There are instructional goals at the elementary level, the middle school, and the high school level. The second goal is the implementing sound fiscal practices to support student learning. I think that we do an excellent job with that. I like to give kudos to Maureen and her department for regularly working with us, instructionally putting out budgets that support students. But again, we just went 2 consecutive years without raising the tax levy, and I'd like you to find another district that has done that. So we're very fiscally aware of strains on our community, but we also want to make sure that we have the finances to be able to put out top quality programming and go right back into the college and career readiness and the pathways that we wanted. We're thrilled with the chip company coming here, but at the same time, I know Steve Patchson on a video. Steve, I watched it when I was eating. It is 100% accurate that it's going to create shortages in other companies with those industries. I am thrilled because I've been talking with Ryan McMahon, and those job shadowing, those internships, they're going to be there, which will definitely catapult our students for beyond graduation, and we're thrilled with that. And again, it's going to be great for the schools, and they're saying they're putting $100 billion investment. There's going to be a lot of jobs, which means a lot of families, which means that anything we can to sustain our enrollment, I see as a positive. The third one is providing an environment that promotes 21st century citizenship. A big part there is our attendance and reducing our chronic absenteeism. All school districts struggle with this. During the pandemic, it was just on Syracuse.com, or it might have been WSYR, Channel 9, and it was talking about this issue. I believe it mentioned Syracuse City at like 68% chronic absenteeism, which is staggering. But again, the whole purpose with that is, again, re-engaging students, which is why I led this off by talking about how happy I am that all of our clubs are running, all of our band and music and our sports, which is what these kids needed. The fourth is fostering a partnership between the district and the community, and that is constantly how are we improving our relationship. We have a survey that's going to be coming out to all parents, the culture and climate survey. It's going to be talking about how they feel about how we communicate with them. There's a whole number of things. And that's going to be given to them several times throughout the year, so we'll be able to look at how they feel now in the fall, and then be able to look at that and be able to address different things and see how they feel about that in the spring. So all of our goals, we're going to be able to look back and actually quantitatively assess how we've done as a district. I gave you guys all of the goals, but I waited for a long time because they were embargoed. But as of about 3-4 weeks ago, they lifted that embargo 3 weeks ago. And so now you can look at all of those. And there are some categories that I'm happy with. I'm very happy at the middle school. Participation on state assessment tests has greatly increased, which, as we talked about before, when Arena did an excellent job, we ran a comparison of how students had done on their first math and ELA Regents exam that had taken at least one state assessment test, and 3 through 8, and then those that haven't. And it was a substantial difference in performance. And part of it is just, it's like a marathon. You sit down for these tests, you have to know how the state asks questions and whatnot. So we are very happy where we're going, but we're even more happy to keep it going. So we've made a lot of investments in reading teachers and special education teachers, in mental health. So we're definitely utilizing our COVID funds, and we're really excited, and we're going to be held accountable. So that's one of the things that this board wants to see is the data. We hired these positions, we're creating these programs, but it is important that we regularly check on the progress throughout the year. And finally, Joshua Sundin. Paul B. Moore High School student has been named a commended student in the 2023 National Merit Scholarship Program for his PSAT performance. We have Cicero Police visited the Brewerton Elementary on Friday, October 7th. Officer Rich Hargraves, the SPO at the Brewerton Elementary, welcomed at least 7 police officers from Cicero in the Brewerton Elementary, and that was on Superintendent Conference Day. This way, the police officers could familiarize themselves with that school, because it is Onondaga County in their jurisdiction, in the event of an emergency. The Cicero Police Department was extremely impressed with our technology and our security that we have in place. I mentioned this, but I also want everyone to know that we regularly have sheriffs and troopers coming into our 5 schools in Oswego County, and they say the same thing. So they are thrilled with what we've done with the windows and the tinning and just the whole 9 yards. So school safety should always stay at our forefront. And this board and previous boards have done an excellent job in really giving us what we needed, as we just finished a pretty substantial capital project for safety and security. News from athletics. The athletic participation this fall grew from last year. We were able to fill all teams at all levels. We are currently live streaming all contests from both the stadium and in the gym. We're utilizing Huddle. A lot of school districts do that, and it's great that people from a different state, can watch their grandkids or whatnot play, which is awesome. There is no charge to watch, and all games can be found by going to the athletic page and clicking on the link. Some schools are charging. We chose not to do that. Sam Haley, our varsity soccer goalie, officially committed to Syracuse University, where she will play soccer for the Orange. The girls' varsity soccer team is finishing up an outstanding regular season with a 10-4-1 overall record. They look to have a strong showing in the sectionals again this year. Girls volleyball is currently alone in second place with a 7-3 record and looking to improve their seeding for sectionals. The boys varsity football team is off to a 3-1 start and is alone in second place in the league. Homecoming and the pet rally will be this Friday on October 14th, and we will host the Fowler Falcons. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. On to item H. I'd like to take it as in its entirety. Have a motion to accept. Christy and Lori, all in favor? This time, we'd like to or ask for a motion to go into executive session to discuss matters leading to the tenure of two particular people with no action to follow. Chance? Christie? All in favor? Okay. Thank you, everyone. 7:08. We will not be returning.
We're close up. Yep.